but for the total market in general, the total, if you go into trading view, and if you want to look at literally the entire crypto market, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all 14,000 cryptos, whatever, there is a chart called total. It's in there. And this, let me just kind of clean this up a little bit.
Yeah, we're down half a trillion dollars in the last, what, 8 days?
Right. But look at, when, and maybe you don't see this necessarily, but right here, this is a really bullish pattern known as the cup and handle, right? And you had this major resistance level up here, which was basically forming this. And a lot of times you'll see like head and shoulders and all this, and they all have those baselines, right? And essentially what happens is you come through and you finally break these levels, right? And you get a little run up, and that's the breakout basically. And then what you really want to see is a retest of the previous resistance that we kept banging our head on right here, right here, right here. You want to break above that and basically jump on this and then, catapult from there. And that's what you tend to see in any kind of structure like this as it's breaking into new all-time highs. And this is the entire market, all rolled into one. So on top of that, this is a daily time frame. RSI has got plenty of room now, plenty of room to run now, right? And so this is how we kind of gauge. Obviously, the momentum is going down right now, but when we turn around here, this is going to have so much room to go up. Unlike where, when we were here on November 8th, we were actually getting into overbought territory again, right? So this is kind of when the market's getting overextended. That was when we got to that 69K. You were overextended a little bit. You started having bearish divergence. You had all these issues coming into play. Well, now we're cooled off. We're coming back down. We're literally at support. The issue is that, we're doing this for a few days long. And what happens is everybody's so paranoid, or not paranoid, but it's like they're so scared of holding the bag, right? They don't, because of the whole bear market situation. I think they've heard all of our the horror stories, and nobody is willing to, wants to do that, obviously. So I think that all these things, it always just kind of goes into that aspect. But all in all, just this picture alone right here is super positive, in my opinion, right? So that's
after a cup and handle in a typical so that's the cup and handle. If you guys are looking, basically, is just this whole first movement before we get to the yellow line, right? After a cup and handle happens, the way that we've seen this, you have it where it says perfect retest. Is that something that is pretty bullish in and of itself, the retest, or it's just the cup and handle that's looked at?
The entire thing, because basically we broke this, we came up, and we're retesting right now. You basically are just kind of regaining some momentum. As long as you don't lose this level, that's
the confirmation,
right? This is realistically, like on a trading aspect. If you saw this on, let me see here. Let me put up a good example. Sand, I think, which we were going to talk about sand here in a minute, but sand, right? We're going to zoom into sand a bit. Like on a trading aspect, sand just kind of had this same situation. This is zoomed in a bit, but sand had, this little bit sloppier, but cup and handle, so to speak, a breakout right here. And then you came back down and you retested this level of support, and then you continued higher, right? Another really good example of this, let me just show you, is this other token. This is a perfect example, really perfect. It's called Soul, right? Phantasma. And we see this just time and time again. I mean, this is really, truly the setup that you want to see more than anything. So right here in Soul, right, you had this rounded bottom right here. This is your major level of support, right? I'm going to take some of this off. I know this kind of can look a little crazy. But you had this rounded bottom come up, and once you break through this previous resistance, right, you get your breakout essentially, and then you get to come back and you retest your support and you take off from there, right? You'll find this in almost every single cup and handle or rounded bottom, or even most breakout patterns in general, because even this technically could be considered. Let me see here. Anyways, like sometimes you'll see when we go back to Bitcoin, even that falling wedge that I was just showing you earlier, you'll see a breakout of these patterns, and it'll come back down and retest the resistance, and you kind of come off from there. So the most amount of buyers are basically waiting at the retest, right? As far as traders go, because they wait for that confirmed direction. So hopefully that made sense, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, brother.